Yeah, I think that speaks a little to some of the stuff we talked about last week, and as far as how your even your own not perception of yourself, but perception from others change as you get successful.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like we talked about last week. To be honest, my worst encounters came from the ages of 12 to 17. That was like worst encounters with the police. When I became a Boston College guy, like even though everybody said like in Boston this was gonna happen, that was gonna happen, that never happened. Like, I felt, I'm not gonna say protected, but like I was viewed as one of the good guys now. Like, and then when I became after Boston College, I go to play pro, and now my attire is different, my car's different, all that kind of stuff. And again, like I've had some run-ins, but nowhere, near where just when I was 13 years old, walking from the rec center, just on my way home.
Yeah.
That stuff wasn't happening to me. Like I said, I'll get stopped for speeding, but I was speeding, and stuff like that. So like, I got no problems with that. But like things when I wasn't doing anything except walking home or on my way to the basketball court, like that happened from the ages of 12 to 17. And when I got to Boston College, I just felt like it didn't really happen anymore.
Same here, and I think that is to be blunt about it. It is a privilege that you receive when you become an athlete or student athlete at a prestigious college, because while you're in the womb, so to speak, of BC, you're protected there, right? But let's say you were not wearing BC attire, you stepped out and went kind of far away from BC, you stepped away from Chestnut Hill, and you just happen to be walking about. And don't get me wrong, I think Boston actually, is pretty progressive and pretty good when it comes to things like that and that nature now. Probably maybe not back in the 90s like everywhere else in the country. But the fact of the matter is, if you stepped far away from BC, you may have had a different, situations. But because you were closer to BC, you probably hung out at Rogies or, not supposed to go to Marianne's, but that happens sometimes. But
I've never been inside Marianne's.
Hey, I've never been there. They scared us. They scared us straight day one. Like, don't go to Marianne's, and that came from Coach Skip's mouth. So it was like, yeah, we not never going in there because if we get caught. Like,
well, there's a big reason for that, and that I will keep to off Zoom for those reasons. But what I'm saying is that you stayed close to DC where you were safer, which was the right thing to do. Like that's a smart thing to do, was to do that.
Yeah, and that brings to mind, Craig, I don't know if you remember this, but this was probably 4 years ago. I was in LA for work, and it was, I think during the NBA Finals, the Warriors were playing, which doesn't really narrow it down much, but some of Craig's friends and I went and watched the game. And then afterwards, we were just kind of talking outside a little bit because obviously everybody's going in their cars. You have to drive everywhere in LA. And everybody was standing around for a few minutes. And at some point, somebody was like, maybe we shouldn't be standing around here. The police might come or something. Craig goes, oh, it's okay. Farnon's here. Which is funny, but it's also sad, so.
Yeah, and that's a true statement, man, because it's one white person here so they can see we're not a gang or anything like that, but it's sad that we even have to put that into a category like that, but it's the truth.
Yeah. And it's because it's a scenario that we've come across many times in our lives that we feel that way. It was like, man, we better make sure we have a white friend with us when we go out to the club or when we go out to a bar or something like that. And the thing about it, nothing might happen, but it's just that we've had so many other things happen prior that we go, you know what? It's better to be safe than to be sorry, right?
And you feel like they can get you out of certain situations too. You having an argument with somebody who's maybe white, your white friend can step in and take care of that for you because, it might be a different situation because you don't understand, not having that understanding of each other's language, that shit can turn physical in a matter of seconds. You know what I'm saying? So it's just always good to have different friends around because you always can get that good, different perspective that I think can be very helpful and be really eye-opening.
Yeah, and back to what I said before, seek to understand, then to be understood. Because there's a lot of times where, you know, someone will get mad because, you know, a white person said something that did something. And I would sometimes say, well, it might be because they don't know.
Yeah.
They're not having a conversation we're having right now, right? They may not understand. And I think it's starting to happen, right? Like I'm seeing a lot of folks on Facebook and a lot of folks online, and where people are having these kind of, you know, they call it difficult conversations. And I feel like if we had these conversations out in the open, black, white, or otherwise, you know, people go, okay, you know, I understand. But the thing is that you have to be able to listen. I can talk to them blue in the face, but if you keep telling me, nope, that ain't happened, you never got beaten up by a cop, nope, I can't believe it, nope, we're going nowhere.
Nowhere.